Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing one of the great films from one of the finest directors who has ever lived, who will ever direct movies. This is Bela Tarr's Damnation, which I watched from my Curzon set here, quickly becoming a favorite piece of physical media for me. Region B, but so I'm glad I have that kind of a player. But absolutely terrific film, a haunting film, a beautiful film, and kind of a funny film in its own way. Very dry. Definitely a great entry point, I think, into the director. A little bit easier maybe than something like Werckmeister Harmonies or Satantango. And I really don't think it gets the admiration it deserves sometimes. Of course, 1988, year after I was born, we see this unassuming little industrial town in the opening scenes where someone's looking out of the window and there's coal being transported over these ski lifts. It should be boring, and it's fascinating. And kind of a nice long take that really helps ease us into this damned world, if you will. Now, there's an essay in this set that talks a little bit, it mentions different parts of his films from Kelly Powell, but she talks about the rain falling perpetually on the town as being kind of literal and metaphorical muck, if you will, of the characters' lives, including the dogs. The dogs are the most animated people. They actually seem more natural and humanistic than the humans, who are a lot more robotic. There are scenes in here that kind of remind me of Metropolis, Fritz Lang, those workers just droning about. But the muck and the rain and all of the outdoor segments build that kind of aesthetic you expect from Tarr. And if you're into that, I think it's some of the best photography he's ever done. There is a scene where we learn about our main hero, if you can call him that, Carrier, and he's in a bar. You're overhearing some conversation, and I love this sequence. There are some glasses, and they're like different glasses at the bar. They're kind of haphazardly stacked, and you cannot tell if they're cleaned, or they're being cleaned, or they've just been used. Did the whole bar get sloshed? You don't really know. And you see that while you hear the characters talking, and he's talking in the background, and you see some steam. And I think Tarr is excellent at building the exposition of characters with images that seemingly have nothing to do with the characters. You see these pile of bar glasses, and you might be tempted to think, well, what does that have to do with the character? But you realize very quickly that much like those, discombobulated, disorganized glasses, that very much like the character and the way he lives his life, hollow, empty, and from pleasure to pleasure. It's remarked by another character how selfish he is, which he is. He's actively trying to ruin the marriage of another man and a singer who really wants to be famous. She's conceited, she's self-absorbed, and she's kind of terrible as a person, but nonetheless, he's in love with her. And so what he does is Carrier gets this offer to smuggle some goods, and he passes it off onto the husband of the singer so that he can spend more time with the woman. And you would think that as madly in love with her as he is, that there would be more passion in their exchanges. The only time they're passionate is when they're having a fight. There's a real ugly, brutal scene where they're yelling and there's a baby crying in the background, and that's shot fantastically. But when they're actually engaging in their dalliance, it's mechanical and gross and weird and kind of animalistic. It's gross. It's weird. It's ugly. There's a line that he talks about, because so much of the dialogue in the film is philosophical or at times biblical, right? Damnation. There's a line he said in this last watch here that really struck me. He said, he was talking about stories, and he said that the heroes always fall apart, and they always do it in exactly the same way. Kind of sounds like William Butler Yeats there a little bit. And that's his life philosophy. Just, go to a bar, destroy yourself a little bit more, complain about your own loneliness, and embrace nothing of good or of value in the world. And, there are so many scenes of this kind of rigid isolation, this hopelessness. The singer herself, there's a great scene where she's singing a song and she's just holding a cigarette up and her hair's a mess. And I can't even tell if she's convinced with her own vision of becoming famous Is she putting on an act? Is she trying to match the vibe of the song? I don't know. But it's bleak and it's despairing. And it's also a little bit funny and a little bit joyful. You would think a movie that has dogs running around in mud and rain would be purely depressing, but it's not. The soundtrack, for all of its haunting and eerie vibes, can also be kind of fun and full of life and vitality. There's a great scene near the end of the film, probably, has to be one of the most famous scenes from this film, where a group of characters are dancing around in a circle, and they're all joined together. And the soundtrack, it actually kind of sounds like something from Roller Coaster Tycoon, the video game of all things. Just these folks at a carnival having a very good, very basic, simple time. And I don't know, I wonder what the film is trying to say in that regard at times. Is it trying to say that we need to derive more joy out of simple pleasures? Is it saying that we reach too far for too much and we ignore the nice personal connections we have with each other? Could be saying a lot of things. Or are we all damned no matter what we do? When I look at this film, I know that I've seen The Man from London. I like this a little better. Overall, I think if you're looking for a film that you maybe haven't seen from him, because Satantango, right? I covered that on here. That's a great longer film of his. Werkmeister Harmonies, which is in the Criterion Collection. Turin Horse, you have all these films, but Damnation I don't think gets mentioned as much, and I really think it's one of his best works. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I do not find it to be the least bit boring, but I will tell you, if you're not used to slow cinema, you don't like that kind of thing, you're not going to like Bela Tarr. But the more I've watched of his films, and the more I study individual shots, and just, I don't think that there's anything better at what he does than Bela Tarr is at what he is, which is slow, mindful, beautiful cinema. There are not more difficult videos to make about movies than trying to discuss Bela Tarr, because how do you put it into words? Boring black and white shots that are somehow fascinating and engaging and memorable. I don't know. What do you all think? Those of you that are Tarr fans in here, what are your thoughts on the film or any of the other Bela Tarr films? Do you like this as much as I do? If you did, you want to click that like button, I'd appreciate it. Thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I have covered other Bela Tarr stuff on the channel. You'll always find a home for movies. Yeah, Cody in the Cinema.